Welcome to another Just Traveling Through video. I'm Celeste.
And I'm Terry.
And today we're here to talk about tips for travel to Paris for first-time visitors. So Paris is one of our favorite cities.
Yeah, we have absolutely no problem with going there time and time again. It's a beautiful city and we really enjoy it.
There's tons of art in Paris. The food is fabulous.
The wine, the bread, the cheese.
It's a very walkable city. You can walk all around Paris along the river.
We've had quite a bit of good food there and enjoyed various restaurants and some of the best crepes we've had in the world.
You might hear some people say that they hate Paris, they don't like the attitude of the people there, or that service isn't the same as you get here. And I think one of our first tip, don't go to Paris or France or anywhere else in Europe and expect it to be like the United States.
French are very proud of their country and proud of Paris.
Take a little time to understand their culture and what they're all about, and it'll make your trip that much better. So take a little time to learn some of the local language. There's a number of tools out there that can help you do that today. It's not just phrase books, but today you have access to things like Duolingo and Babbel. I actually have a story. We were in Paris once and we were sitting at a cafe. We had just arrived. The waiter there was not the most friendly at first.
Speaking rapid French.
And then I asked him to speak more slowly in French, and right away his whole demeanor changed. He brightened up, he winked at me, and he spoke more slowly. It made the biggest difference just by me making an effort to try to speak French. Next tip is getting to Paris from the airport when you land.
Yeah, okay, so here you are, you've just landed at Charles de Gaulle Airport, which by the way is quite a few miles from downtown Paris, and you're faced with how do we get to our hotel? If you are staying at a hotel that offers a courtesy shuttle, and you should double check to see if that's available, because basically it's free.
If you're not staying somewhere that has a shuttle, you can take a taxi from the airport, which is very easy to do. You just get in the taxi line, and it's about $50 to $60. An Uber is about the same amount of money, so there's no advantage in Ubering over taking a taxi from the airport.
The other option you have is to take an RER train from CDG into downtown Paris. It's 11 euros one way.
And then from the metro station in Paris, you can take a taxi to your hotel, or you can walk if you're close enough.
The final transportation option you have is to take a bus from Charles de Gaulle Airport. It goes downtown to the Paris Opera House only. It's approximately 13 euros per person.
The next tip is about credit cards. So even though we have chips in our cards these days mostly, they won't always work everywhere you go, because in Europe they usually require a PIN as well, and we don't always have PIN on our credit cards in the United States. Now they will work at some places, some vendors will know how to deal with that, but not all. So we like to always make sure we have cash with us, as well as multiple credit cards.
And don't forget to tell your credit card company you're taking your credit card on a trip, otherwise they may flag your card for
Fraud.
fraud.
Yeah, and they might not work for that as well. So it's a good idea to let them know you're going to be on a trip. And by the way, the best place to get cash is either at the airport before you go, at the exchange, just to have some, just to make sure you have it when you get there. But once you're in Paris, going to ATMs is really where you're going to get your best exchange rate, and it'll be the most convenient.
Yeah, you really want to have some euro coins in your pocket, because you're going to find there are situations where coins are going to be valuable.
The next tip is about where to stay and accommodations in general. Hotels in Paris can be very expensive. If you have the money and you just want to make it easy and stay in a hotel, that's fine and reasonable. But you can save quite a bit of money if you look for VRBOs, if you look for some that are maybe a little bit outside the city center.
Or Airbnb. That gives you the flexibility, if you select correctly, to have a fridge in your room, which is kind of useful.
Yeah, one time we stayed near the La Defense area, which was, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes outside of the city, but it was
right next to a
right
metro
next to a
station.
metro. It was a cute place. It had, you could walk downstairs and there was a grocery and somewhere to get wine, and there were restaurants, and we could just hop on the metro and get into town.
We were half a block away from Boulangerie for breakfast.
Saved us a bunch of money. At one time we stayed in the Marais area of Paris, and we stayed in this really tiny Verbo, but it was great. You know, we didn't need that much space. It had what we needed, and you can see in the pictures above how tiny it was, but it was in a great location, and again, it saved us a lot of money. And one thing to be aware of as well is some of these places have extremely tiny elevators, so even if they say elevator, they're sometimes so tiny you can't even fit your luggage, so just heads up. The next tip is about cell phone usage. I think a lot of people know this, right? But when you go over there, if you don't have a cell phone plan, you're going to get charged huge roaming fees. And luckily, over the years, this has gotten a little bit better. But check with your cell phone provider on whether or not they have some kind of a day pass.
Yeah, the use of a cell phone mapping application is just drop dead gotta have in Paris.
Yeah, I think anywhere. I mean, I think we're all attached to our phones now, and I know AT&T has like a $10 a day pass, and we use that when we go over there frequently. But you can also buy a SIM when you get to town, or at the airport sometimes they have those SIM providers, so you could always pop out your SIM and then plug in a local one.
The important thing is to plan ahead in this regard.
The next one is to consider getting the Paris Pass.
Yeah, these passes are a bargain.
If you go to just a handful of things like the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, you take a boat ride, you go to the Arc de Triomphe, like right away you've paid for the pass. So they come in 2, 3, 4, 6 day, and just look at your stay. If it's your first time, we highly recommend this because you're going to want to see those touristy things, right? If you come back again later, you may not want to do it because you've seen certain number of things and you're going to want to focus on a certain area. But these are very worth it. Now keep in mind, if you do want to visit certain places and museums, you may have to go in advance and reserve your time, even though you have the Paris Pass.
Yeah, all the museums are doing pacing entries, so everybody who buys a ticket gets a date and a time to enter. So a Paris Pass, for example, is not going to guarantee you entry. You still have to go through the mechanics of getting a date and time from the museum itself. So
the next item is really about using the Paris metro system.
Yeah, or maybe we should say getting around Paris. Paris is a big city, things are spread out, and the Paris metro system is one of the largest, if not the largest metro system in the entire world. It goes everywhere and anywhere. They are frequent, fast, and reasonably comfortable. There are multi-day metro system passes that you can buy. You have to get those at a metro ticket office found in the larger metro stations. If you buy single-day tickets every day, it's more expensive. And by the way, keep your pass or your single-day ticket handy because frequently the Paris police will wander through the station and ask to see your ticket.
And overall, the metro is just the best way to get around. Now, our last item on the list is a series of items to have you be careful for pickpockets and other scams that happen in the city.
Yeah, you've no doubt heard people talk about or read about pickpockets in Paris, and yes, they are a reality, but the fact of the matter is the pickpockets tend to hang around places where there are crowds. So you're going to find them at the more famous spots like the Louvre or Notre Dame or El Decite or Eiffel Tower, etc.
Anywhere on the metro.
Any metro station, they're going to be there. There are basic things you can do to keep yourself safe.
One thing is if you wear cargo pants, Terry tends to wear cargo pants when we travel because they're very convenient, but if you go on the Paris metro with cargo pants, you're going to find that pickpockets are attracted to those, and they're going to sit next to you and try to open that pocket. So just be extra cautious. Make sure you have your hands on your valuables.
A lot of places recommend wearing a money belt, for example, rather than keeping your valuables and your money in a wallet and a pocket and cargo pants. You may as well wave a red flag in front of the pickpocket artist. The other thing you're going to find is that there's a thing called the petition signing scam in Paris, and this is where groups of teenagers will have a petition and they'll ask very nicely if you'll sign the petition. What that really is, in most cases, is a way to distract you while the pickpocket walks behind you and grabs your important, information or data or money out of your back pocket. Let's face it, if you're not a voter in France, signing a petition is useless, so avoid that.
Another one we ran into was trying to use the machine in the metro to get tickets. So we were confused when we were looking at it. It was all in French. A man came up and was, under the guise of trying to help us, was in the end trying to take our money. One of the metro workers came out and saw them working with us and started yelling at him to shoo him away, and then told us, never do that, never talk to anybody when you're getting tickets, always get them at the ticket window. So you can't always get your tickets at the ticket window because some stations only have the machines, but just don't take help from somebody like that and don't give anybody cash.
Yeah, all the larger stations you're going to find ticket offices, so that's where you want to go.
The next tip is about visiting museums and other points of interest.
Their hours vary from what we would consider to be normal here in the U.S. For example, we found the Musée d'Orsay to be closed on Monday, was it, or Tuesday? Which seemed unusual to us. We didn't count on that. We thought they might have been closed on Sunday. But
and we just happened to be there on the day that they were closed, and it kind of messed up our schedule.
Yeah, so you want to plan ahead and be cognizant of what their operating hours are.
Yeah, and even though you might want to just have a free vacation and wander around, free meaning not planning, it's good to actually look up at least the most basic information, right? Is it open? Can I go that day on the day that you want to go, especially for the things that you really, really want to see? So that's all we have for you today on Paris, one of our favorite places ever to visit.
She's still Celeste and I'm still Terry.
Thanks for listening. If you have any feedback, please let us know.
If you go to Paris, enjoy.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.